Hi friends, welcome back to my garden. I'm Michelle. I wanted to take you on a little tour of my David Austin roses and show you how they're doing here in early April in Zone 9. Just to give you a little bit of background as to what kind of weather we're experiencing here. We have been in the low 90s and it's very dry. We've had no rain. I can't even remember the last time it rained, so my grass is looking rough, but the roses are doing okay because they are receiving water from my irrigation, of course. But I want to show you the varieties that I already have growing here in the garden, as well as some new varieties I got this year and how they are doing. I have a few that are in bloom right now, so I will show you those blooms. And I'll show you what's new, and also I bought a standard this year and I will show you how that's doing. So come along with me and let me show you how my roses are performing here in April. And of course my air handler just went off because we are already at 74 degrees at 9:30 in the morning. And it's telling me it's only supposed to get up to 87 today, so that's actually a bit of a break. And we have a semi-overcast day, but here's my arch with my James Galway climber. I have two of them, one on each side, and they have been blooming for actually a couple of months now. I've enjoyed several blooms, and what I really love about these guys is the amount of blooms that they produce. I found last year I had a lot of blooms as well, and they have varying tones to them. They are, as you can see, a very soft pink, and they begin with a deep toned center, and then as they open up they fade to a very soft color. These are actually more peachy in tone. I'm not sure if that's coming through on the video here, these two here, but this is more pink in tone. So I really enjoy that. The rose has different, tones and variations to the blooms. Let me show you some on this side. And they look kind of small as they begin to open, but they do have a lot of petals inside, so they really fill out, as you could see from the other bloom on the other side. So I have really enjoyed watching this guy, and he's doing, his name is James. He's doing exactly what I want him to do. I wanted blooms to come on the inside of the arch as well as the outside, and that seems to be happening, so I'm very happy with that. And this is the second year for these two plants. I will put a picture up of what they look like when I first potted them up last year. I did receive them last year as bare root, and I had them in containers, but and only because I wasn't sure if this was the final place for my arbor. But once I had that settled in my mind, I took them and put them in the ground so that hopefully they will be a little happier with that situation. So let me show you the next variety that I do have that is in bloom. Here is Munstead Wood, and I actually have cut about 5 to 6 blooms off already, and I still have a bunch of buds coming, and it's in the full sun right now, so here we go. It's a very deep toned flower. I think it's supposed to be red, but it reads more of a very deep dark pink. So maybe as the shrub ages it will deepen up in red, but it's almost like a very deep fuchsia. But it has just been prolific. I bought this as bare root this year, and it was the first variety I received and it has done extremely well as far as the amount of blooms. Now what I have noticed is, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong or why this is happening, but as you can see, hopefully you can see, the tips of the flowers are sort of, I don't even know, like dried out and don't look very pretty. Of course you can't see that once the flower opens. Let me see if I can get this in focus. Here we are, a little, not quite as sunny. You can't see that once the flower opens, but I have noticed that the start of the petals are a little marred. I apologize, I don't know what that noise is, if you can hear it in the background. My neighbor's doing something. But these, I snipped a few of these and brought them in the house. I'm going to put a little picture up of an arrangement I made from all the 3 varieties I had in bloom at the time. And when I took them in the house, they definitely had more of a cupped appearance, as you'll see. But I'm really enjoying this one, and it is super fragrant. So I really recommend this if you can get your hands on it. Here is Poet's Wife, which I will throw a little video up of me putting this in the ground, a little snip. It was very dry here when I put this guy in, very sandy, and I was a little concerned that he would struggle, but he has not, or she has not. This variety produces a lovely yellow bloom. My husband got it for me for Valentine's Day. And what I love actually most about this so far is the tone of the leaf. It's a very cool green color, almost with like a blue undertone to it. It's definitely the coolest shade of green on any of the varieties that I have. So I'm very curious to see how it's going to do as it continues to put on growth. But it's looking very healthy. I don't see any buds yet, but I'm hopeful that I will soon. This is my standard. It is Roald Dahl. I will put a picture up of what it hopefully will look like. But let me back up so you can see. This is the first standard I'm trying. And I was quite nervous when it first went into the ground. It sat there for quite a while before it started pushing growth. It already had growth when I got it, but some of it dried out a little bit and browned, so I was concerned that I had like shocked it and it just wasn't going to do anything. But when I put it in the ground, we had a little bit of a cold snap, and so I'm not sure if that delayed the the progress, but here it is, and it is just looking glorious. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. And I have a little friend here. I'm very excited. I will show you what it looked like when it first went in. But I'm hoping that this does really well here. I did mulch up the bottom only of this rose. I'm working on this bed. It's a little bit of a mess. And I have my rogue hollyhock, but I could not bring myself to take it out yet. And I've got to clean my fountain, and here I'm digressing. But I did mulch the bottom of this because we've been so hot that in the afternoons it gets a little wilty. So I'm trying to keep the roots cool and keep as much moisture in my sandy soil as possible. And hang on, I have one more to show you. Okay, so I actually have more than just one to show you, but this is the last new one to show you. This is Teasing Georgia, and it is a climber. This was another gift from my husband. It's a yellow variety. I'm sorry, there's an airplane coming. Anyway, Teasing Georgia here. And I had great debate as to whether to put this guy on an obelisk on the fence. On the David Austin website, it did say this variety would grow on an obelisk or a fence. I wanted to grow it on the fence, but my husband doesn't want me to do that. So my solution was to buy this trellis that I hope is coming through here. I got this trellis from Amazon, and I will link it in the description if anyone is interested. It is, I think it was 72 inches, and it's quite impressive. It's very sturdy, and I was quite pleased with it. I'm going to see if I can be able to give you an indication of just how well made it is. Not, you know, not flimsy or anything like that. So it wasn't exactly cheap, but I do believe it is worth the price, as it's pretty sturdy and substantial, as you can see. So anyway, I'm wanting to grow this guy up this trellis here and see how that does. So now I have 2 left, and let me show you those. Here is the first of the last 2, and this is Lady of Shalott. I received her as a potted variety last year. Actually, these last 2 I'm going to show you I received as potted varieties versus bare root. The Lady of Shalott, as you can see, produces a lot of growth, but what I have found with her, at least last year, I only had 1 flush of blooms the entire season, and it came very late. I did receive the rose, I think, in maybe April or May. And what I noticed about potted varieties versus bare root, I believe the potted varieties are younger and less mature roses. So if you're, you know, debating about bare root versus potted, I recommend bare root. I think what you get for your money is a more substantial plant. Not that this won't, you know, continue to grow, but I just think I prefer bare root. So anyway, as you can see, we've got a lot of growth, but we have no buds anywhere. And of course, the same as my James Galway climber, these roses are, you know, they were already here, but the Lady of Shalott just doesn't want to produce blooms for me. So I don't know if I'm just not in a good zone for this particular variety or what the issue is, but I put it here on purpose. Last year I had it in a pot, but I put it, sorry, I was just stepping on my bearded iris. I put it here on purpose so it could do its thing. I think this variety will get very tall, I believe 4 to 5 feet potentially. So I want to see, you know, what it will do. And I hope it will produce some blooms for me, because the ones it had last year were beautiful. So now I really do have 1 more to show you. This is my Boscobel. It produces very deep pink toned flowers with a beautiful smell. I really love this rose. It did well for me last year in the pot, and I'm looking forward to see how it performs out here in the landscape. So I highly recommend this rose as well. In the little, I'll pop the picture back up, in the little flower arrangement, I was able to get a couple of blooms off this guy, which is why it has nothing here right now. But I have really loved this bush, and it seemed to do the best with fighting off black spot. And we have another plane. Anyway, if you're looking for a lovely pink shade, I highly recommend Boscobel. And another thing about this one, it produced a ton of blooms for me, many cycles of blooms. So it's pushing out more growth. So I'm looking forward to another flush, hopefully soon. So anyway, thank you guys so much for coming along with me on this tour of my roses. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you guys, and I will see you in the next one.